If one day AI feeds you well enough to live, but you wake up not knowing what the hell you were living for anymore, that is not heaven. That is when your life starts going empty from the inside. A lot of people think losing a job is the worst hit. No, the worst hit is when you are still alive, still comfortable, but you no longer feel useful. I am Max, from 5 years in the future. Today, I am going to tell you why a life that is too smooth, too easy, and too comfortable can still break a person, and why the most dangerous thing AI may take from you is not the job itself, but the feeling that you still matter. Why do people still fall apart even when they have money? Why is losing a job not just about losing a paycheck, but sometimes about losing the feeling that you still matter in this world? In a future where machines do almost everything, what is left for humans beyond eating, sleeping, getting entertained, and passing the time? We are about to break all of that down right now. This video is not here to sound smart or philosophical. I want to talk plainly, because the scary part of the AI age is not only that it can take your work. The scarier part is that it can take the reason you get out of bed in the morning. A job was never just about paying bills. For a lot of people, it was also the thing that told them, today, I still matter. I still have a place. I have not been left behind yet. And when that part disappears, money alone may not fill the hole inside you. Try to picture a normal morning in the near future. The money still lands in your account on time. The house is warm. The fridge is full. You do not need an alarm. You do not need to rush out the door. You do not need to open your inbox already tense before the day even starts. Sounds like a dream. Right. But then after a few weeks, maybe a few months, something strange starts showing up. You wake up later. Slower. Everything is still fine on the outside. But inside, you feel weirdly empty. You watch things, scroll things, do things. But the feeling does not last. That is when a lot of people begin to realize something hard. Human beings do not only need comfort, we also need to feel that we are doing something useful, moving a little, pushing against real life. When AI and support money remove the pressure of survival, they do not automatically hand you, meaning they only leave a gap behind. And if you do not learn how to fill that gap yourself, it starts swallowing you back. And this does not only hit working-class people, it hits every level. Think about someone who has done their job for years and felt proud of it. They were skilled. They were useful. They had something real to offer. Then one day, they look at a screen and see AI writing faster than them, cleaner than them, remembering more than them, even explaining things better than them in many cases. The pain is not only about competition. The pain is that they start asking themselves, then where do I fit now? If the machine does the part I was proud of better than I do, what am I supposed to hold on to in order to still feel valuable? That is the real cut of this era. It does not only ask how much money you make, it asks whether you still feel needed. A janitor, a professor, a doctor, a manager, anyone can get hit in that same place. Because underneath every profession, work has always been whispering one quiet line to us. Today, you were useful. Then comes the next trap. A lot of people think pressure is what breaks them. But sometimes the thing that softens a person the fastest is a life that gets too easy. Writing feels hard, so AI writes for you. Thinking feels tiring, so AI thinks for you. A decision feels heavy, so AI suggests it for you. You feel lonely, and even there, a machine is ready to talk, comfort you, and tell you exactly what you want to hear. Everything gets smoother, easier, lighter. You barely have to wrestle with anything anymore. Sounds convenient, but that convenience can slowly make you weaker without you noticing. Human beings do not grow because everything goes smoothly. We grow through getting stuck, getting things wrong, feeling embarrassed, failing, then standing back up and trying again. When AI removes all those uncomfortable parts from daily life, it is not only making life lighter, it may be taking away the inner muscle that makes you strong. And that is where this crisis stops feeling vague and starts becoming real. The danger is not just that AI takes a few tasks off your plate. The danger is that it is pushing people out of the very loop that used to make their minds stronger. Before, if you wanted to understand something hard, You had to sit with it. You had to feel confused. You had to try, fail, and look stupid for a while before things finally clicked. It was tiring. Yes. But that was also how people grew. Now AI is turning almost every kind of friction into something you can erase with one button. If you cannot remember, the machine remembers for you. If you cannot write, it writes for you. If you do not know where to start, it gives you the answer before you even struggle. Each one sounds harmless on its own, but put them together, and they slowly make you do less of the hard inner work that once made you tougher. And once that keeps going, people do not just get softer emotionally. They get weaker in the way they think, the way they endure, and the way they walk through a day without shortcuts. That is why I keep saying this is not only about money. This is about people slowly losing their ability to deal with life. Think about a child growing up in a world where every question gets answered right away. Every moment of boredom gets filled with a screen, and every uncomfortable feeling gets smoothed out in seconds. That child may grow up very comfortable, but that same child may also grow up not knowing how to wait, how to sit with frustration, how to survive loneliness, or how to move through disappointment. Adults are not that different. Once we get used to AI carrying the hard part for us, we slowly lose the habit of staying with a problem that has no quick answer. We lose the stamina to go through days where nobody rewards us right away. And that is where this gets dangerous. A society that cannot handle friction will become very willing to trade freedom for convenience, maturity for comfort, and depth for a smooth life that feels easier, but thinner. But there is another hit that cuts even deeper. AI does not only make you softer, it also creates a very toxic measuring stick that makes people look at themselves and feel like they are losing. The machine writes faster, remembers better, speaks more smoothly. It is always available. It never gets tired. And because of that, people start looking at themselves through the eyes of a machine. I am too slow, too messy. I think too long. I feel too much. I am not optimized enough. Sound familiar? That is the moment when people begin to treat the human parts of themselves like flaws that need to be fixed. And that is the real wound. Because at that point, AI is no longer just a tool. It quietly becomes the standard you start forcing yourself to match. And once human beings begin feeling ashamed of their slowness, their sensitivity, their rough edges, their imperfection, then this crisis is no longer outside them. It is already living inside their heads. The real turning point is here. Not when AI does one thing better than you, but when you start living as if the human part of you is the problem. From that moment on, everything changes. Slowing down is no longer seen as thinking carefully. It gets called weakness. Sensitivity is no longer seen as connection. It gets treated like a burden. Hesitation is no longer seen as conscience or caution. It gets treated like bad performance. That is the deepest pain of this era. The machine does not even need to rule you by force. It only needs to make you believe that the most human parts of you should be cut away. And once people start hating those parts of themselves, they rush into a very dangerous race. Not a race to live more deeply. A race to keep up with the system. That is why the skills I am about to talk about are not here to help you beat AI on speed. They are here to help you stay human in a world that keeps trying to flatten you. And here is the hard truth. In the near future, the people who survive best may not be the ones who use AI the most. They may not be the ones who hate AI the most either. More often, they will be the people who know how to protect the parts machines still cannot replace by actually living through them. The people who can stay with something hard long enough to create something new. The people who can walk into real conflict without falling apart. The people who can build trust with real human beings, not just sound polished. The people who can pull themselves up when nobody is checking on them, nobody is pushing them, and no reward shows up right away. And the people who can turn that empty feeling into one serious question. What kind of person do I want to become? That is the real turning point. Because after all the tools, all the comfort, and all the support systems, the question is still very old. How much of your human core are you still holding on to? If that part gets too thin, you can still live a very smooth life and quietly sink anyway. The biggest mistake right now is thinking, as long as I still have enough money, enough comfort, and enough peace, I'll be fine. No R. The moment you no longer have to struggle to survive, but also no longer feel the need to grow. the most dangerous part may have already started. The real warning sign is not lack. It is the way you slowly shrink inside. You become less patient with hard things, less brave when real conflict shows up, less hungry to create something valuable beyond your own comfort. Then little by little, people stop living in order to grow. They start living just to stay calm, fed, and distracted. That is the most painful turning point. Not when AI gets better than you, but when you stop wanting to build yourself anymore. And if a whole generation reaches that point, the first thing that weakens is not the economy. It is the quality inside the people living through it. So how do you survive a hole like this? Step 1. Keep your ability to handle friction. In plain language, do not let yourself throw every hard thing at a machine the second it gets uncomfortable. A messy problem, a hard conversation, a skill that takes time to learn, a boring day with no instant reward. Those are not accidents you should escape at all costs. They are where you train yourself to become steadier, deeper, and stronger. Along with that comes skill number 2, creating meaning for your own life. Do not sit around waiting for a job, a platform, or a system to tell you where your value is. Build it yourself. By learning something real, teaching someone, caring for someone, making something useful, chasing a goal hard enough to force you to grow. If you do not create meaning on purpose, it becomes very easy to replace living with consuming and replace growing with entertainment. That is how a person can look fine on the outside and still start going empty very fast. Skill number 3 is knowing how to connect with people for real. AI can sound smooth, polite, fast, but it does not truly carry the weight of a relationship. It does not hurt the way people hurt. It does not carry the moral weight of a promise. That is why the ability to truly listen, truly show up, truly admit wrong, truly make things right, and truly build trust with other people will matter more and more. Skill number 4 is moral judgment. The more machines start suggesting what to do, the more human beings need to know the difference between what is fast and what is right. A lot of times, more efficient does not mean more decent. More optimized does not mean more human. And skill number 5 is self-command. Pulling yourself up, holding your own discipline, setting direction for your day even when nobody is forcing you. Nobody is watching, and nobody is handing you a reward right away. These 5 skills will not help you beat AI on speed, but they will keep you from turning into someone who lives very comfortably while becoming lighter and emptier inside. But naming those skills is not enough. You have to turn them into a way of living. That means keeping a few parts of life that you do not hand over completely to the machine. Write things yourself when you can. Think first before you ask AI. Have the hard conversation with a real person instead of hiding inside a screen that feels easier. Learn something new without demanding that it be fast, smooth, and optimized from the start. Take on real responsibility in your family, your community, or your work, so you still bump into real life. The people who survive best in this era are not usually the ones who cut technology out of their lives. More often, they are the ones who know how to use technology while still keeping part of the day, part of the week, part of life itself for training the human core inside them. That is the reality check. The scariest future may not be one that is too harsh. It may be one that is too easy. Easy enough that people no longer have the strength to carry the meaning of their own lives. So if you still believe that once AI helps with work, helps with thinking, helps with emotions, and even smooths out all the hard edges of life, then people will automatically become happier. It may be time to let go of that belief. What is coming is not just a productivity revolution. It may be a huge test on the human core itself, where too much convenience slowly eats away at meaning, identity, and endurance. It sounds cold, but the colder it sounds, the more important it is to face it early. Because the people who survive this stage will not be the smoothest, fastest, or most optimized ones. They will be the ones who keep enough weight in their human core so they do not get carried away. I am Max. And if videos like this help you see the hidden side of the AI future more clearly, stay with the channel. Because in the next episode, we are going into an even harder question when AI starts touching not only work and meaning, but also love, friendship, and human connection itself. What will still keep us human?